Welcome, everybody. Super happy to have you join us today. Very exciting live stream today. We are some of the developers and community members from Impellers in the Black, which is a space combat simulator that is now part of Steam Next Fest, which actually closes up today, which is one of the reasons why I want to have this live stream. My name is Edmar. I'm mostly working behind the scenes. I was the original founder of the studio, but we have some of the great developers that are here with us today that are actually working on the project day to day. And I just love to help out in the weekends when I can, like in this live stream. Very exciting time for the studio, of course. In the Black has been a passion project by the team for over a decade, actually. And something that we've been chipping at in spare time. It's been a very big passion project for the team. I'm very excited that we're at the point now where we have a fully playable demo, and by timing it was very nicely lined up with Steam Next Fest, which was all this week. So we've got a lot of great comments and feedback, and we've been updating the build a couple times during the Next Fest. The current plan right now is to actually take all that feedback and continue to review the feedback as it comes in. Because the demo is gonna thankfully stay live permanently, so the demo will always be there, so that new players can experience the game and see if it's something that's the right fit for them. So we're gonna take all the feedback we're getting from the demo from the past week and onward, and we're going to prioritize what we need to do for the early access launch. So there are the few things that were called out specifically, I think, regarding joysticks and controllers and binding savings. Some onboarding for players. We'll get more of that in a few minutes, but we're gonna take a look at that stuff today. But before we get into it, let me introduce my fellow presenters here on the live stream. Next to me is Alex. Hey, Alex.
How we doing?
Alex is our associate producer who is working day to day on the project, actually working very closely with the community, working with our. Basically, he's basically the middleman between a lot of our developers and the community. So he's the one that's kind of managing a lot of the all the information that's going back and forth, helping to update our Steam page, helping with these live streams. So Al's a big help on the project. Right below me, my partner in crime here, Jack Mamias. Jack, so good to see you today.
Hey, what's up, Mercs? Let's do this.
Jack is the director of the studio and the director of the game. So he's basically the creative genius behind a lot of what we're doing in the Black. And Jack has a very strong pedigree. He was the principal designer behind Crisis, Far Cry, MechWarrior 2, 3 games that a lot of PC gamers are very familiar with. And one of the reasons why I was so excited to work with him, because of that kind of hardcore, immersive kind of gameplay experience, which is what we were going for in the Black. So Jack has been in the project nearly since the beginning. So really happy to have him here today. He's been very active on our community Discord server, which is, you can go to discord.gg/intheblack. So Jack and many members of the team are there, but Jack is there kind of watching every single comment and engaging with a lot of you there. So thanks for all the community members that jumped onto the Discord server, and for all the ones that haven't come on yet, we welcome you. It's a great place to meet other players. Speaking of which, we have a couple of great players here. Cara has gotten moved here. I'm moving Cara back on. There's Cara. So we have
Hello.
Hello. So we have 2 players from the game. We have Robert next to Al. Hey, Robert.
Hey, how's it going?
Robert is otherwise known as Commander Smartass, one of the best names in our Discord server. Super active on our Discord. So Robert, it is so awesome to have you here. And we also have Cara here, and also very active on our Discord server.
Yeah.
Relatively new player to the game, but welcome, Cara.
Hello. Well, glad to be here.
Where are you guys from?
For me, I'm from Arizona.
Arizona.
Munich.
Munich.
Yeah.
We have a lot of German people playing this game. We noticed.
We do. We saw. We have a lot of people in Germany, some people in Russia, a lot of people in the United States, obviously, but Germany seems to be the most representative country in Europe.
Outside U.S., they're number one. I think.
That's not. I mean, we are the biggest country, so in Europe.
Yeah.
If you take out Russia from Europe as goal, then we are.
That's true. But
you
also,
guys like your space sims.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You can say that again.
Yeah. So anyway, so That's who. Okay, so we want to dive into some of the things we've done in the patch first, and then we'll circle back, and we'll talk to Robert and Cara about what interested them in the black, and especially what inspired them to jump into the community, and if they have any good tips or strategy they want to release to other players. We'd love to hear about it. And then later on live stream, we'll talk a little bit more about what we're going to be focusing on for early access, and also we'll take a quick look about some history of the game. I pulled up a couple of videos from our Kickstarter way back when. As many people will know, this game is not the same as other space combat games. It's very unique in the sense that we're leveraging Newtonian physics for a lot of the gameplay and the immersion, which means that the typical kind of arcadey experience that exists with a lot of space sim games, while awesome and fun and we enjoy ourselves, this game is going after something a little different and does require some skill, some knowledge, some practice. A lot of those things which actually, Commander Smartass here is very good at, actually. So we'll talk with him and Cara in a minute about kind of what they've done to improve in the game and get to be the kind of players they are. Because that's one thing we've noticed a lot in the demo, is that it's not a very straightforward game or intuitive game to start with. I think unless you have a lot of experience with space sims or flight sims, it can be a little tricky to kind of get the hang of things. But that's one of the things that I think makes it a rewarding game, because that kind of practice and that skill is required to get really good. And then when early access comes out, you can take everything you learned in the demo and put it to the test against real live players. We have co-op in the demo, but that's not the same as PvP. When PvP comes out, and that's something that the team has been playing for years, right? We play test all the time. It's an incredible experience. It's a lot of fun. It requires a great amount of teamwork. You can go solo, a little Rambo if you want, but I think the best successes come when you're working as a team. So there's a lot of things that come into play when you are doing In the Black with.
Me and my brother can attest to that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's talk about really quick the patch. So Jack, we got a lot of feedback, and Alex, we got a lot of feedback during the demo. Yeah. One of the reasons for us doing the demo was not only to let people know that this game is coming soon to early access and to be discovered by new players, but also to get that feedback from players on what they thought was working well, what wasn't working well. The good news is we were able to implement a really easy to use in-game feedback system, because I think that's one of the main things that can be challenging as a game developer, is getting that feedback from players. Because not all players will leverage the Discord server or the Steam community page. A lot of them will basically not share it at all. But if you make it really easy, and that's something we learned from a great game made by another indie studio, the game is called Subnautica. Subnautica leveraged a really nice in-game feedback system. You just press one key, and you could provide feedback to the devs, any bugs, suggestions. So we implemented a system very similar to that, so that players can do that, and that has been honestly a treasure trove of data. Really good, and we'll probably show some of the comments later in the screen share, but some of the comments run the gamut. We've got players who really love the experience. We have players who are frustrated by some parts of it. But I think by and large, most players really enjoy In the Black, and we've heard over and over again that this is a game that they've been kind of looking for kind of years, and really happy to see it and want to see it be successful. So that's been very inspiring and motivating to the team. But Jack, what has been kind of your feelings about the demo and participating in Next Fest and the kind of feedback you've seen?
Well, you would think, since I worked on MechWarrior 2, I would remember the joystick situation with Sims, and we were kind of ready for it because we worked on Logitech, we worked on Thrustmaster, but there's a lot of joysticks out there. There's a lot of combos out there. There's a lot of throttles out there, hands on stick, rudder pedals. Specific aspects they have about their joysticks, that they want certain things and because of certain ways, because some of these wonderful people have essentially a whole flight cockpit setup, probably with pneumatics in their room. So if anything is off, it's not going to feel right, and we respect that. Unfortunately, we're not able to test everything out there because first of all, we don't know of everything out there, and second of all, logistically it'd probably be impossible for us to get every joystick and joystick combination in the world. So we certainly rely on our players to tell us when something's not working, and then we evaluate it and we get it on our we call it a backlog, which is the stuff that we're working on, and stuff gets prioritized on the backlog on a constant basis as to what we need, like what we need to fix. Like for instance, when we first came out, we saw a lot of people complaining about they didn't know when they were hitting stuff. So we needed to put stuff in the game that would tell them it was hitting stuff, and we put that to the top of our list, and it was good. People were saying the zoom wasn't good enough, so we got our guys and they put a zoom in there, and you can zoom real far. I mean, it's probably breaking stuff now because you can zoom so far, but it seems okay. It seems okay. I think I like it. I love seeing. Usually, you're just aiming at graphics unless you're within 1 kilometer of the other ship. But now you can really see the other
20 like settings thing, right? For the
yeah, well, you can when you roll your scroll wheel now, you can actually. It's an additional feature that one of our guys, Alex, really took over and killed. Not this Alex, the other Alex. That's one of our programmers. We like 8 Alexes on our team. It seems like. Once you target something, you can zoom all the way in, right? Like zoom really far in and use it. Yeah, zoom. Chemical says zoom so good I can see my house from here. That's true. It's a good zoom. And when we saw it, we were like, "Oh my God, why didn't we put this in? We were so stupid, right?" I mean, we had an earlier feature that when you targeted something, it would appear on your MFD, so you'd see a real close up of the ship. And we found out that was double rendering. And back in the day, we were looking at VR too, so it's quadruple rendering when we did that. So it's something we had to say, okay, we can't play with it now. But zooming in is just a single render, so it works pretty good. So lots of joystick issues. We should have done a combat tutorial. We did a flight tutorial and we did a weapons tutorial, and we figured that was good enough because this is a game that you have to play a lot of to get the feeling of it. I mean, I feel like it's akin. I remember when I was playing Doom and used to use the arrow keys to play Doom because everything was like very linear in Doom, and you could play the whole game with just the arrow keys on the keyboard. And then when Quake came out, people started using mouse look and WASD, which really didn't exist before then. And when you first do that, you're looking down the ground and you're doing a lot of stuff wrong because you haven't got the knack for it yet. And that's kind of the way In the Black is. You kind of have to get a knack for it, so you have to play it, and you have to play missions and really start to get a feeling for what weapon works best in what situation, and what weapon works terrible in what situation. Like missiles are super good, but missiles are super vulnerable to your close-in weapon systems or your CWIS, so they can be taken out. Sure, of course.
In all honesty, for me personally, I found that some of the missiles are quite hit and miss. Especially the small missiles. I've had moments where sometimes it seemed like I failed to avoid one, but other times the missile just whizzes by me without me doing anything. And that's without me using my laser or gimbal CWIS system.
Right. See, the thing is, everything is real physics. So we put the weapon aspects onto the missiles, the fuel, how fast it goes, when you launch it, what is it doing, and it's going to do what it does, and CWIS does what it does. So we're all finding out together how the best technique for using the weapons, which to me is essentially get behind them and shoot it, just kind of like it's an airplane, right? I mean, you get behind them and you have a clear field, especially if they're out. If you wait till later in the game and they're out of CWIS ammo, then they're sitting ducks. Right?
Yeah,
so you got to use it smartly.
Unless the target has laser CWIS systems, like what I have set up, you can be able to get away with acting as a persistent hunter.
You can, but then you meet people like Sniper Czar, who's one of our players, and he destroys you immediately, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever see Sniper Czar in the match if he's not on your side? then you need to just eject right there
Yeah.
and go ahead and leave.
Probably be a bit more of a crazy person.
It's not that it's just he is him. There is no other person. I mean, you see him and you just want to run. And then his
He's
skills
very
speak for
good.
themselves.
He's so good that he can grind up like in about we built the game goal to be probably like 6 months to where you start getting Hyperions. He gets to Hyperion like a week. So he gets the good shit early and he's unbelievable, right? It's just great.
When you release the latest of the early access version, like after a week or so, he was already at the
Like we wipe it, and then people have to grind from the beginning to get everything, and then he's you see him flying around in Hyperion and multiplayer. And oh my god, already! I mean, faster than we can do it even.
Yeah.
But there's no cheats in the game, so you actually have to earn it in our game. So we're really serious about people playing it. And the thing is, each mission is designed to we have in the early access. The demo is kind of an aberration as far as the gameplay is concerned. It doesn't really show the true game. It kind of just gives you a taste of the game because it's showcasing 2 Bloodsport missions, but we made them single player and co-op because our wonderful devs came up and found a great way to do co-op, and we had to put it in there. They were like, "Yeah, this is the way it needs to go." And we looked at it. We said, "Co-op is the way to go." So we put it in there, and we didn't have a lot of time to make the missions because we had to do the next fest. So we put 2 of the multiplayer missions in there. One is open space, so it's just you're just going against people, in the void. And the other one is a conquest map called. We see it on screen here. This is our conquest type map called the Belt. It's supposed to be in the asteroid belt. Of course, our heavy science guys points out there's nowhere in the asteroid belt where asteroids are this close. The closest ones are kilometers and kilometers away. You would barely see them on the horizon. So this one kind of bugs our hard science guys. And but sometimes you got to do stuff that's not always hard science. You have to make the game fun. So we have this part of the asteroid belt that is a little more occupied with asteroids, and our company in the game, who is our broker inside the game, Starfighter Inc., they have this set up as kind of a training field. So this is why you can come in and play against, it's like an arena battle, and and a conquest mode is not really realistic. Our single player modes are all essentially realistic missions that you play and you make money on.
Hey, MK Power Z, he said something involving Sniper Master.
Sniper Czar? Is somebody saying something about
Yeah,
Sniper?
they're taking the AI and putting Sniper Czar's name on it.
We have to dumb down our AI. People are already saying the game is too hard for them. So
I know, I saw that on Steam the other day. I was like, dang, that was quick.
Well, once you learn how to fly the ships, it's not hard. It's really easy. But when you first jump in, you're overwhelmed by. I mean, just look at all the stuff on the screen here. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on here.
The physics,
but you don't have to look at everything, right? You kind of just got to look at 1 or 2 things and just kind of be aware of the other things. So, and that's what you learn when you play. The more you play,
gotta be wary of tunnel.
Keep it hard, Chemical 37. Chemical 37. I promise you, there will always be stuff in there that you will not be able to beat.
The first,
ever.
The first version of the demo, right? Enemies were really toned down. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we actually put a
not.
difficulty setting. Yeah, we put a difficulty setting in the new. We added a real drone sweep is a single player mission from our early access game that before you were playing by yourself. And the way our single player works, it's contracts. So all the missions have multiple difficulties, and the contracts, the higher the difficulty, the higher the payout. So you kind of decide as a pilot, as a mercenary, do I take a bunch of easy missions just to make money to get up to the next weapon, or do I risk going into a hardcore mission, which is going to be super hard, and I'm going to die? I may lose money. So it's that's why we call it in the black, because you always have to stay profitable to get the good stuff in our game. And that means you have to fly smart. you may not always want to take the most expensive. Like every ship you take in costs money. So if you take a Shrike in and people get good with Shrikes, you can accomplish most of the missions if you're good, and it's cheap to take the ship in because in our game the Shrike is like a T-38 fighter. It's been around for about 100 years. This is what they used in the first corporate wars to do stuff, and this is how they. But now there's so many around that you can get them cheap. So in the game, a lot of people have Shrikes, right? As you start getting the better ships, they become more rare. They obviously they become more expensive, and they.
That's a really good point, actually. So because I have seen a lot of people question, like, why does a Shrike look the way it is, and why does it have these wings on it? There are no wings, actually; those are sensors. But a lot of thought went into the design of these ships, including the Shrike, and based on what Jack just said in terms of its history as a ship. We actually have some nice a little clip here, I think, that we produced during our Kickstarter campaign. Let me see if I can play.
Let's roll it, Jim.
This is the
let's roll it. Let's roll it.
Evolution of the Shrike. Man, that is a pretty cool looking ship. When you look at it like that, very cool.
We did a good job on that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
The Shrike has to be one of my personal favorites, in all honesty here.
We had to make it a good ship because it's your first ship, right? So it's not the most powerful ship, but it's your first ship. So it had to be something special to you. So we had a great designer.
Kind of like a Sidewinder. Playing for Elite Dangerous or just the Elite games in general.
I don't know because I really haven't played Elite Dangerous. So shoot me.
Yeah,
I tried a couple times.
When you first start out in Elite Dangerous, you start out with the Sidewinder.
Yeah.
As far as
this thing would fit into the cockpit of the Sidewinder.
Yeah, those are big ships in that game, as I understand it. They're like
they are indeed big.
That's mostly an exploration. It's mostly an exploration
motorcycle.
Yeah, that's mostly an exploration game. We're a combat game. We're just about combat.
I'm aware. I'm just bringing up some of my own.
Yeah. No, we appreciate it.
We
like
experiences.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So, Cara, I think we're gonna move on to some other topics. But I want to thank you for joining us today. It was really nice having you.
No problem.
Okay. Have a great rest of the day.
See ya.
So Robert, you've been actually super active on our Discord server, and the video we're playing right now is actually from your gameplay, right? That you had recently.
Yeah.
This
I think that's the first iteration of the demo here. I think that was. And if I'm zooming in here, and there's a lot of zoom, I was actually hacking. I was playing the game in twice the horizontal resolution, and then using Windows Magnifier map to a joystick button to zoom close.
Well, that's one way.
Yeah. I mean,
Hey,
it's
if you
brute
go
force
to all
way,
that
right?
trouble,
My-
if you
my
go all that
graphics card
trouble, you're
was
welcome to do
screaming
it.
a bit.
So tell me so Robert, what kind of attracted you, and how did you find out about the game to begin with?
Well, basically, I think I'm playing almost all 6 Degree of Freedom Newtonian space PQ games. So if it's except Star Citizen, but that's a topic we probably don't want to go into.
Hail Chris Roberts.
So
That's all I'll say.
if there's something in I can fly and fight in space, or even if I cannot fight and it's just cool flying, right? Like Flight of Nova, where you cannot really fight, but it's nice flying. I will probably try to play it. And this one here is a bit different since it's more toned down in that stuff is not hectic, right? You kind of think about, okay, how can I go about this way? Do I come from this side of the asteroid? And stuff like this, right? In other games like in HunterNet, which is also fun, but stuff is much more hectic, much more fast. There's two sides, right? Both things are fun. So this one is more, I think, more deliberate, if that makes sense. Where you have fuel you have to think about.
Strategy. You have to use strategy.
Yeah. This is Zoom, right? This was the first version of the demo before the new Zoom. And I think I got it to 4 times or something. That worked out pretty well.
And what would you say? What would you say? What are some of the best ways you've learned? Actually, have you been learning just by practicing, or did you leverage the pilot manual?
Oh, usually I go in and just try, simply because I've played many of those games, and the way I play them is very similar. So usually I disable all kinds of thrust assist, basically immediate. And I also keep pitching developers why it's enabled by default, because it kind of kills you. Mm-hmm. Because once you're in Newtonian mode, and the only assist you have that if you stop giving inputs to rotation, that it auto cancels, right? It's sort of like your rotational assist. Was it RDAMP? I think you guys call it.
Yeah, that's rotational. That's rotational dampening and transitional dampening.
So if you only have that on, but you don't have thrust assist on, then I think most of these games play similar, except that you have different thrust to weight ratios and stuff like this, right? But if the mental model, I'm just continue going in this direction, it's the same. It's just right. It's just the strategies change because of damage model or how fast weapons are, the projectiles, how fast you can be, and how much fuel you have, right? So
yeah,
I see that you fly with rotational dampening on and transitional off. That's how I fly too. That's the smart way.
The secret sauce.
Rotational dampening off is kind of, I mean,
it gets too hard when that off, man. It gets nuts when that's off. I mean, we are going to have electronic warfare, so we will have EMPs. Nukes will have EMPs on it. So when that hits you, it will blow out your flight assist.
Permanent, right? It's just
it'll be a temporary, right? Like your RDAMP and your TDAMP will go down, and you'll have to fly manually for a while and stay alive, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, it also means there's some reason why you might want to train doing that. So that it gives you. So there's another game called Infinity Battlescape that has that. That sometimes if you knock somebody, it kicks out their flight system.
Got to check it out.
And just because it happens occasionally, I trained still being effective even without the rotation assist. Right?
Manual control. Switch to manual control. It's been a fantasy of mine forever to have to do that, right? For some reason, I got to switch to manual control.
So Robert, what would you at this point? You've been playing for a little while, obviously, and we're nearing kind of that point where we're close to early access. What would you like to see changed, if anything, before we launch an early access? Obviously, we're going to have new missions, new ships, and everything. But what would you like to see, kind of in fundamentally?
Except head tracking. Well,
head track. Well, head track is in progress. Head
Yeah.
track is in progress. So
We
head
jumped
tracking
on head tracking. We're going to make it work.
Yeah.
okay, good. Because head tracking, I think, is for this type of game, for me, here, is the thing, right?
Yeah.
That's super important, just to feel like you are in the cockpit, right? Because without it, it kind of feels like somebody standing behind you and holding your head.
Well, you can hold
Yeah,
alt down and look around.
But I mean, from gameplay wise, I think the idea, what you did with the drone mission, to have a slider for difficulty, is like actually a good way, because I think this game probably might excel long term really good, where you have a couple of missions that you do with a friend, and you may not even be able to do them alone, or they would be really hard. So only or only if you try really hard, you might be able to even pull it off alone. Stuff like this.
Yeah,
I think so that you get a friend on board, but not in a PvP way, more in a co-op, chill co-op way. I think this is probably where this deliberate chill way of playing here, which reminds me a lot of the old MechWarrior, right? Comes in.
Music to my ears.
I think that is something where this game is different than others, and I think you should probably play to that strength. And I personally don't see it that much as a PvP game for me, but that's probably very different.
Yeah, I mean, we have people who are really more interested in the single player stuff. I know, Jack, you've been thinking about more single player missions.
Yeah. Well, when we first came out, it was only going to be PvP, right? When we first put it on Kickstarter, it was like, this is a player versus player game, because that's what I want. I like player versus player, because AI is fun and good, but it's nothing like the game should be. And we made the PvP game. We put it out. People enjoyed it, but they only played it for about half an hour, and then they were done. And so we said, we need single player, because people need to be able to train so they're good at PvP. And then we add the single player contracts in there. And like you said, you as a mercenary, you're going to be able to join with your buddies, and then you can go into the contracts that'll be available, and we're going to randomize them, right? So there might be a really easy space recon mission where you just have to go do a scouting mission, which is totally chill, right?
Yeah.
You may have one enemy pop up, so you're just sitting around listening to music and cruising with your buddy. Or you may go into a mission that is immediately, people trying to kill you super hard. And if you go like, okay, I'm going to take a really risky mission, three skull mission, and yeah, now that we have co-op, we can even make them harder. So we're super excited about that. And I've got on the drawing board a couple, like most of our missions take about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to play, because we found that was a awesome. Everybody's got 15 minutes, right? We looked at other similar games, and they basically, that's about how the rounds lasted. But I want to make a couple missions that are like 45 minutes or an hour that will pay you like tons of money, but is brutally hard, right? Where you've got to will outlast waves. We'll have ways for you to refuel, and we already have the refueling, rearming, and repairing. And but we're going to add that to actually a ship that can be flyable, right? Like we're going to have the Pegasus have the ability to refuel and rearm and repair you. So you'll be able to have a support guy, essentially, a medic, a ship medic. And, then you can play real long missions if you got somebody supplying it. You got, because when we were watching with Iraq out attack, they took the the B-2 out of Austin and flew it to terrain, but they had to go to 6 refuelers along the way, right? So that's a mission, right? Okay, take out a refueler or get the refueler, right? So you might start looking for refuelers. So there's a way we can have a good extended long single player missions, but now that we have the co-op, we can put more time into it, which is fun because it's still multiplayer.
Yeah, the other thing that happened during the Kickstarter way back when was that there were a lot of players who were super excited about the concept of the game, but were very disappointed that there was not a single player. I remember that was part of the reason also, because I think people were very used to the games that we grew up with. Speaking myself and Jack here, like Wing Commander, and the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games. Those games all had obviously were heavy single player focused games. And I think that the bottom line though is, as Jack and I both know from past experience, single player, to do it right, is very challenging. It takes a lot of resources. And it's just very different type of production and work involved in doing multiplayer and single player. There are only so many studios that can get away with doing super high quality single player and super high quality multiplayer. It's usually one is really good at one, they're either good at one or the other, not both. So it's a very challenging thing. I think the key thing for us as an indie team is to try to keep things within scope. And I think being able to leverage co-op obviously helps a lot. Being able to have different types of missions by leveraging difficulty. So I'm excited. I think it's something that I didn't think we were going to be able to do. But now that I see that we are doing it quite nicely in terms of balancing single player and multiplayer, I'm super excited and very surprised, actually. So let's talk about the patch really quick. So one of the things that we wanted to get right away from the launch the demo in time for Next Fest is to get all those additional fresh eyes on the game and feedback. And boy, did we get feedback. We got a lot of feedback. We got feedback in our in-game system, which is great. We also have people going to Steam discussion page, which we've been trying to keep on top of. And on our Discord server, of course. So we have 3 different places where there's feedback coming.
4.
What's
the video that on Lieutenant.
Oh, that's true.
That's like 130,000 people.
Yes, that's true.
Loaded with feedback.
LC Gaming produced a great video just in time for Steam Next Fest about the demo. Gave it a big glowing review, and we had so many nice comments in there. Also, a lot of constructive feedback too, and also some people who said, "Listen, this is way too hard. This is not my type of game," which is great. That's the whole reason for doing the demo, is to actually make sure this is the right type of game for players. And that's something they would get frustrated at. So let's take a look at this quick video we've got. We have a great developer that's helping out the team, Nathan, who has been producing these really high quality videos and shorts, helping kind of give people updates on what we're doing. So he actually just put together this video on the patch. So let's watch this for a couple minutes.
Attention mercenaries, an update for the In the Black demo has arrived. This patch brings gameplay improvements, bug fixes, and a few quality of life upgrades, all aimed at making your time in the cockpit smoother and more responsive. Let's start with gameplay. The drone sweep mission now allows you to choose your difficulty level, giving you more control over the challenge and rewards. Speaking of rewards, payouts are now properly displayed and credited after contract completion. Over in Free Flight, we've added safety boundaries and a new play area enforcement system that stops ships from drifting endlessly into space. And for those in the thick of combat, you'll notice improved projectile hit feedback. Ballistic impacts now trigger clear visual indicators when your shots connect, making engagements more readable and satisfying. Under the hood, we've optimized how the game handles ship thumbnails in the hangar, cutting down on stutter during generation. We also removed some texture streaming hitches that could cause short freezes during gameplay. The feedback menu is now smoother, no more freezing or lost inputs when you submit your reports. We also fixed a few edge cases that could lock out camera control or hang the UI. Everything should now restore properly once you're done submitting feedback. In multiplayer, we've improved vehicle spawning and session stability, ironing out rare crashes and double spawns during map transitions. Spectator mode and post-match cameras have been polished, making round transitions smoother and preventing camera locks. And finally, we've addressed a handful of smaller bugs, minor lighting and mesh issues in Free Flight, UI inconsistencies across resolutions, and that pesky case where you'd sometimes hear your own rounds hitting your ship. That's fixed. That's all for this patch. Thank you to everyone playing the demo and sending in feedback. We're continuing to tune performance, visuals, and combat as we move toward early access. Fly safe, mercenary, and we'll be seeing you in the black.
Awesome. And Al, you were close with Nathan on that too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, we've been the best of buddies these past few weeks. Love that guy. He brings to the table interesting content. Like, it's anytime that I'm in a room with him and he comes up with an idea, I just get a big smile on my face and we just go.
That's awesome. Well, good job on doing that. I think that's super helpful to update the community whenever we have updates that have some nice changes in them. Speaking of changes, so this is something that, Al, you started a few minutes ago, and I think it's good to, I know Jack replied to this in the chat. But let's put it on the screen here. Oh, about the VJoy mouse control for, man, I've seen this comment so many times.
It's VJoy.
So Jack,
used
what is
to
the
annoy him,
official,
by the way,
what's the official
before
word
that.
here?
I used to post video links on the Discord where he's on before he could get access to the game, and he was super annoyed by that because he couldn't play.
I know we're looking at it. That's all I'm going to say right now. Okay.
So that's the official word from Jack. We're looking at it.
Yeah, we know it's important.
And we also have another great shout out we should do for Obsidian Ant, who also produced a great video. So Obsidian, thank you for doing that. And everyone should check out his YouTube channel as well as LT Gaming. I think they're both producing great content on Space Sims. So really want to double down on that. Okay, cool. So Jack, I know we only have you for a few minutes, and I don't want to keep Robert here any longer. We have to on a Sunday. Robert, do you want to before we say goodbye to you, do you want to leave any closing words you have for the studio, for the community?
Yeah, I mean, just keep going, because these past few weeks, you guys lighten up, right? I mean, there was lots of activity now. Stuff really went up in iteration. Like, I mean, we saw like what 8 iterations now in a couple of weeks or months.
Yeah, I guess if you're including hot fixes, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean,
are you in the early access, Commander Smartass? You're in there, right? Didn't I send you a key?
I mean, I was playing this game years ago, and it was only mouse and keyboard, which I can't really deal with. So I stopped playing it, which meant my key went away at some point. And then recently, I think a couple of months ago, I was in one of your streams and won a Steam key. So
good.
Which is at that moment I started annoying you guys with whatever. I mean, head tracking probably most of the time.
And you're playing a single player missions in there right now, right?
Yes.
Cool, good. Yeah, more to come.
Very cool. Well, Robert, I'm going to let you go so you can enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good thing. See you guys.
See you on Discord. That's so cool when you having players from the game join us on these live streams. I think that's great. So let us know if you want to join us, if you're watching and you want to join us on an upcoming live stream. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions, and you can chat with some of the devs here in real time. It'd be amazing. Okay, so speaking of fans and players, and Jack, how much time do you have? Because you don't have to stay if you gotta go.
I can stay till top of the hour.
Okay, all right, cool.
And then I must run.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm looking at our notes here. So we've gone over some of the fixes. We have another update that's coming right now that's going to be addressing some of the joystick suggestions we've been getting. So hopefully people will see that very shortly pop up as an update. So Al, one of the things that you and I and the rest of the team have been seeing a lot of is basically how to do this, how to do that. Where can I find this? I don't understand this. So what we've done is we have a couple of great resources, but they were kind of hidden before. One was a pilot's manual that actually Dave Westman on our team, and he's the mission designer on the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games. He's our producer. He has been working over months and months on this pilot manual, which is a pretty intensive overview of all the different systems in the game, including the demo. However, it's been a separate document. You'd have to go to a link to it. So what you've been doing is actually working with some members of our team, including Mike Burke, who's been also an amazing, valuable resource for the community. He's he's got a lot of experience with working with some huge AAA games. And he's brought a lot of experience to the table in terms of how we should be disseminating information to the players to benefit the community. So the community's got a great advocate on their side with Mike. So we've been trying to, with Mike's guidance, we've been trying to put as much as possible we can directly into Steam. And I think that should be the kind of go-to for players. Go to the Steam page, because we're going to make sure everything's there is updated. We're trying to also make sure we're prioritizing Steam discussions area versus the Discord server, because we know most players are going to go to Steam, and then some more of the hardcore fans are going to come over to the Discord server. At least that's what it kind of looks like right now. We'll see how things go over time. But so we want to make sure we're fully supporting the Steam pages. So Al, what does that mean? What have we been doing lately to up our presence on Steam?
Well, I know that on our end, we've been hearing the comments about information, being the big thing. Where can I go and see these guides? Where can I get the pilot manual? I don't quite understand how this works. So we've been gathering that information and putting it in on our guides page. You can find the FAQ there. We have some video guides that are coming out, the ones that you see with Nathan. We've been putting together a known issues list. So if there's something that you want to report, but you're not sure if you're confident on whether we know about it or not, you can always check the known issues list. And we're monitoring this daily. I know myself, I can't go a day without looking at Steam or Discord, seeing what people are talking about. So rest assured, we are seeing it and we're replying. But of course, for if you wanted to go and see the pilot manual, you can also just go straight to our store page, scroll down right over here, and you can see the full manual right here. And there's a lot of tips in there. I know that right now in our community, I was just seeing people coming up with their own naming conventions for maneuvers that they're pulling in space, which is fantastic to see. The pilot manual goes through the physics, and it's just great to see folks talking about their own strategies on that front.
Awesome.
Yeah. But of course, discussions are also a great place if you don't want to put it in feedback, but you want us to see it on the Steam page or just have a conversation with other players. I've been primarily in the discussion board, seeing what you folks are talking about and replying on that front. And there's a lot of great stuff here. I know we have conversations inside about it all the time. But yeah, that's a great resource. That's pretty much what I have.
Okay, cool. And then I think, so right now the manual is not integrated here yet. I think Dave's in the process of adding that. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
So for the manual, people still have to use the, I think if you go to the main store page, you'll see a link to it, right? It's down the bottom. Yeah, so people should click that link. It'll bring you to a Google Doc, but that's the best place to get. Anytime you have questions and stuff, I'm amazed at how many people have not looked at the pilot manual, because a lot of people asking questions are also super, super detailed in their experimentation and trying and learning things. So definitely leverage that pilot guide. That's what it's there for. We're fooling around with some ideas actually later on, potentially for early access, to try to bring some kind of a chat bot into the game so that you can basically ask questions to your computer in the game, and that'll leverage information that we've got in the pilot manual, as well as in the FAQ. It'll tie all that stuff in together, and so you can kind of talk to your computer and ask, hey, how do I do this? Or what's the best use for this weapon versus this weapon? Those kinds of things. So that's something for the future. But for now, leverage the resources we've got in here, including the stuff that Al's showing on his screen right now on the Steam page. Obviously, if we would love if any players out there, if you're interested in putting out your own guides and tutorials and updating the content in here, helping people in the discussion area, you'd have our great thanks, and we'd be happy to promote and celebrate that in the community on social. So let us know if you end up doing that. We'll see it obviously if you post it here publicly. But I think there are some great advantages to having the players who are playing the game day to day kind of contribute to this content. So let us know if you do it, and we will promote you happily. I just posted the link to LT Gaming's channel too. So if you haven't check that out. He's got great videos. It's actually a team of 2 people, I believe. Let me see. And I think we've got okay. So right now we are streaming to. Jack was asking where are we streaming to? We're streaming to the Impeller Facebook page, the Impeller LinkedIn page, the In the Black YouTube, and Impeller Twitch. So that's where we're going right now. And I'm sorry, not the Impeller Facebook, the In the Black Facebook page. So most people who are watching this, you're probably going to be watching this afterwards. So you're not watching this live. I would suggest if you want to keep in the loop with any kind of updates we've got in terms of live streams. I know the developers also want to start live streaming just their coding sessions. So when they're hanging out coding, you can hang out with them. Noah expressed interest in doing that. So we're going to start promoting the live streams, the office hours, or the coding time. And if we do an upcoming AMA, and which we will likely be doing as we head to early access, and any other kind of event we might have, maybe it's at a conference or something like that. So I'll post our calendar of events where you'll be able to see our upcoming live streams. You can actually add that calendar to your own calendar so that you'll always see it, especially if you're using Google. I think it's very easy. I think it's pretty easy. I think the link is bit.ly IT In the Black briefings, I believe, right?
Yeah, you just take that link, and we post events there, and it's just as simple as using your Google Calendar. Just put it together and send it out.
All right, thank you for talking through that, because I'm going to grab the link right now and I'll put it in the chat. Definitely let us know if you have any streams you are doing of the game, so we can help promote that. That would be amazing. We've seen a bunch of people do that.
Bye, Jack. Thank you.
I know. I'm just looking at the lighting in my face. Looks like I have a stroke or something.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I didn't have a stroke.
No, so we've seen some great people streaming the game just on Twitch. So I would say, if you want to find out those past streams or follow those people, or you want to keep up to date with new streams that are coming up, our Discord server has a channel called Coverage. And that coverage channel is an automatic push of anyone who's got an article or a live stream happening on In the Black. So if you just check out that channel, you can scroll through and you'll see some of the past streams. Some of them have saved their videos. You can watch some players newly discovering In the Black, recording and sharing their journey, and also some veteran pilots who are there showing their gameplay. So check out, definitely support those streamers. We've had a fun time watching them and talking to them in the chat. I know Jack's been there for a couple of them.
Love it.
It's cool. Well, Jack, what is it like seeing some people play? This has been a passion project for so long. We've actually had a few opportunities. Our Kickstarter backers obviously got a key of the game, of the scope game that was promised to Kickstarter. So we've got good engagement with them. But that was a relatively smaller audience. And then obviously we've gone to events like PAX and Gamescom, where we've set up nice, actually HOTAS cockpits. So we've got feedback from there. But I would say all those things kind of pale in comparison, in a way, to the volume of players we have right now. We've seen our wish list increase pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
Sometimes upwards of 2,000 wish lists a day during Next Fest, which has been so nice to see that people have an interest in what we're doing. How does it feel for you?
Well, when you first came and told me that we should do Next Fest, I was panicked.
You were not a fan.
I said, a demo? A demo?
You're not a fan. I love your transparency.
I could not have been more wrong. This was a freaking great idea. A lot of people got tried out, and people who didn't like it, they're not into the 6 degree of freedom flying. That's fine. It's better that they see it in the demo and we don't, charge them for it or whatever, than, if we put it out in the game. So it was a really, really, really great idea. I love seeing people play the game. We held back the multiplayer. That would have been interesting if we have this many players to actually see how the multiplayer is going to be, because the multiplayer has always been the heart of the game. And it was always designed to be multiplayer. Like you were mentioning, the early games like Wing Commander and X-Wing, those were all single player, and people were dying for it to become multiplayer. And then when they made it multiplayer, it was terrible, right? I mean, X versus TIE had huge issues, and people didn't like it because it's hard to do multiplayer with this kind of gameplay where you die in a second. It's super hard and it's challenging. Wing Commander tried a multiplayer game. It was not very good. I think it was Anthem, Wing Commander, Alliance. I don't remember the name of it, but they had a multiplayer. Yeah. So ever since I was working on MechWarrior 2, we were multiplayer from the beginning, and I put Aerotech fighters into Mech 2 Mercenaries, and you couldn't fly them, but we had them in there. So I was like, damn it, because the first game, the game that made me buy a computer was X-Wing, right? That's why I'm so happy to have Dave Westman on the team. Was that cool. DX33 computer playing X-Wing and hearing R2. It's correct voice instead of, usually when you do IP games, they have crappy sound effects and it doesn't match the music, but X-Wing was perfect. It was like, oh my God, the X-Wing flies like an X-Wing and everything looks beautiful and the graphics are amazing. It was polygonal. It was just so amazing that I always had this yearning to do a space sim. And I'm so happy and grateful that I met Edmar, and he wanted to do one too. So we were able to make this. And when we were searching for a way to make it different than the other, we were like, well, all the other ones are kind of like airplane simulators. They're not really a space sim. What would happen if we actually made a real space sim that's using, the Newtonian physics and stuff like that? And, we were scared to death because we were like, this is probably going to be terrible. And we brought David Westman aboard. We brought Zach El Haj aboard, who are like, Zach El Haj is our genius astrophysicist designer who, we run everything through. And they came on board and told me I couldn't have force fields and I couldn't have anti-gravity and I couldn't have shields and I couldn't have lasers. And I was scared to death, right? Because I was like, what have we gotten ourselves into? But the game really works. I mean, it's like, we were so lucky to have the programmers we had on here, like Ken and especially Noah, Remco, because they're so passionate about it that we found solutions to everything that would have made the game not fun. And I think that was the big key. Like, if you can't have force fields, you got to be able to stop missiles somehow. So we had to come up with the CWIZ, and the CWIZ is the way to go, right? And 3 years later, when we're watching Expanse and they had their PDFs, point defense weapons, we're like, hey, there's our CWIZ, right? We're like, hey, and then we see their combat and it works just like our combat. We knew we'd done it right because it feels like something like the Expanse, or it feels like it would be in real life. And that's kind of the dream. And the fact that people are actually having fun with it, they enjoy it. It's a dream come true. I mean, so I'm super happy to answer your question. I got there eventually.
No, that's great. It's cool. So cool to hear
Context.
the journey.
Yeah.
And I think there was always a question in all of our minds whether something like this would actually hit a nerve with gamers, right? Because hasn't really been done before like this in this way, and it's really nice to see, especially because of Next Fest, that there are lots of gamers on Steam that have exactly been looking for something like this. And absolutely true that this is not a game for everybody, right? There are definitely some players that just would not like this game, and totally listen.
It's not Star Wars. It's not Star Wars, right?
And there's nothing wrong with those games, but this is just a very different game. We love those games too. But this is a very different game. And so that's like I said last week in live stream, that's the other reason for the demo, to kind of weed out those players. We don't want people to committing any money to early access if this is not something they would like. So by all means, we put our money and time into the demo so that you can make sure you don't spend your money and time on something in early access, right? That's basically it in a nutshell. So try the demo first. If you like it, then we hope you're going to wishlist the game and help support the project on early access, which let's talk about that really quick, Jack. So early access right now, we have the team has a lot of work to do in the next couple of days, right? To go through all the feedback. The demo is going to stay online, so we'll still get more feedback, but we got a lot from this week, and try to prioritize. And I know internally the goal is still to try to get it out as quick as possible, maybe like within a couple months, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we're trying for sure.
I mean, so this isn't something that the team's looking at for doing, we'll release it next year. This is really like, a fast follow to the next best. So we want to fix the things that need to be fixed, any kind of crashes, any kind of really annoying bugs.
Yeah.
But outside of that, Jack, you've already got a lot of content in the early access build, right?
We've had the early access ready to go for quite some time, but we needed to do some high-level tests on it to make sure if it had a lot of people playing it, that it wouldn't crash and break the game because people couldn't log it, because everything's going through a database that we have. So like when you see the game load, it says reading manifest, and that's kind of checking your database that we keep online and secure, so that we keep the game fair. And we had to simulate like 10,000 players at a time doing that. And now that I've seen Next Fest, I'm glad we did that because it might hit us. So yeah, we're still refining it. Now that we did the Next Fest, we're seeing that our joystick work is not where it needs to be. So we're gonna have to fix that before next early access goes out, because we really want our joystick players to be happy. I mostly play with mouse and keyboard, so I was kind of not really super concerned about the joystick stuff, but we had like David Westman on the team said no, and Edmar said no, this is Space Sim, you can't go out without good joystick support. I think we got like level A joystick support with what we have now, because it basically works with the joysticks we've tested on. It works fine. I've tested on Steam Deck. It works great on Steam Deck, and that's essentially a gamepad. Gamepad works pretty good. But it's kind of the high-end, like, super users, I think, that we probably missed, that we need to focus on and get those guys happy. So
yeah, I already saw an update posted internally this morning that there's been good progress on joystick improvements. So I think that patch is going to go out in the next couple of days. So that's good. So because there's early access. So the good thing about the fixes and polish and optimizations that have been going into the demo with these patches, the way that the teams built the game is that these also impact early access. So these same fixes and optimizations are happening in the early access build at the same time. So that's good. So they don't need to redo stuff. So which means that we could go out sooner than later in terms of addressing some of these things and launching on early access.
yeah.
So we're going to keep the community. I think we'll try to do a live stream once a week. Might not make it an hour every week. Maybe we'll at least try to pop in for a half hour to give people a quick update and take any questions. We've started a Discord thread on these live streams. So if you're watching this live or after the fact on YouTube, you can actually go to our Discord server and post any follow-up questions, anything we've talked about here, right in that chat. I don't know if you have that link handy, but otherwise I can grab it in a second.
I got you.
But otherwise, I think, okay, I think before we close out, Jack, I know you have to go in a second, so feel free to go whenever you need to go.
I don't know. I kind of blew off what I was doing, so
Okay.
yeah, that part's that ship has sailed.
All right.
So, but no, we owe our players this because they're here for us. So.
Well, I thought it would be really fun to actually show one of our videos from a while ago, and then after this, Alice got some things he wants to talk about community celebrations and how we can identify and recognize some of the really cool people there doing stuff within the Black and the community. So stay tuned to that for just a minute. Jack, this is a blast one. This is only a minute long, but this is a video I think we did during Kickstarter. A great voiceover artist, Emma was her name. And I think
that's her name.
Yeah. And so this is when actually, and so a lot of people in the community have also been asking about VR. And VR is something that we would love to do. We've talked about it ever since day one from the original Kickstarter days. And we still hope to do. I think that now that we know that the game's running well on Steam Deck even, and Linux, that's really good to see. I think
on Steam Deck. It's really
great.
Good.
You've been playing on Steam Deck, so I think
I have more fun playing on Steam Deck than I do on PC now. I hate to say
that is crazy.
I'm a PC user, but
I know you are. That's crazy.
When I can take it to my work, my work, and I can sit there and I have a break and I can play it. It's makes me happy.
A lot of praise on the Steam discussion for gamepad.
That's awesome. I think, so I think that's a fantastic development from our side. And so with VR, I think the bottom line is we want to support it. We will support it if there's enough players in the early access to warrant us having development time put on VR. That's the bottom line, right? We have to make sure that core audience for PC is here. That core audience is here. We can invest that time and budget into doing the VR version. So I think it's a perfect fit for VR. I think a cockpit experience like this is just so natural for VR. So I'm very optimistic about it. But it really comes down to the players. Do we have enough players? So spread the word.
Yeah, you VR players, if you want it, you better come play some. You better let us know if you like it. Tell your friends.
Let's check out this video that we did at one point, and this is more just like an atmospheric ambient. It doesn't really show too much, but I thought it was pretty cool in terms of getting a sense of the environment or the aesthetics. So we had a lot of fun producing this. Let's play it back for everybody.
Since the earliest days of space travel, man has dreamed of wealth beyond Earth. Corporations are no longer bound by mere terrestrial laws. With unfettered freedom to exploit whatever they can seize, competition between them is fierce and unforgiving. Our time is one of endless conflict. The only loyalty is the bottom line. That's where you come in. You protect the interest of your employers, and you fight whenever and wherever you need it. Remember, mercenary, you are a star fighter.
That was pretty cool. And that was when the working title of the game was Starfighter Inc. Way back when, until we finalized our final name, which is, of course, In the Black. Starfighter Inc. is still a company in the game, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, they're the brokerage. They're the ones who broker the jobs for you. So they're kind of like a go-between between the corporations and you. So, you know, when you die, the corporations aren't sad. You're expendable meat bags that they throw into. Essentially, you're doing the dirty work for corporations because they have, even though they're all powerful, PR can take them down, and other companies will use PR and will use marketing to take them down. So they have to appear to be benevolent when they're anything but benevolent. And in order to get, let's say I need to get a bigger share of the mining around Saturn, I may need to take out an important depot that they have. They can't just send big ships against it because there would be outrage. They have to do quote unquote terrorist attacks, right? That they're paying for. And that's essentially we work between the lines. Our ships generally, to get to the battle, they're hidden in other ships. So they'll pack us up in cargo containers. We'll turn our O2 on to go to sleep. And when we wake up, we're in the battlefield, has to do it and get in there and get out. And if we're caught, we don't tell them who we work for, right? We burn our black boxes, and we let them take us, we let them take us prisoner. But the corporations keep their hands clean essentially, and that's the vibe. That's the vibe of the game.
Yeah, I think it's such a cool idea and a concept, and that seems very close to reality. We have a couple other videos from Nathan, the kind of short ones, and so one of the things that we found during the demo is that, like we mentioned earlier, some people are having problems figuring out some systems, how to do some things. So Al and Nathan have been working on these little shorts with tutorials, and the goal is we want to try to incorporate these shorts into the game itself, so they'll be available from the main screen at some point, so that you can look at a little guide or a little video on how to do something.
I do have to go. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Jack.
So this one is, I think this one's on the flight model. Let me see how this looks.
Here are 4 unique features of our hardcore space simulator's flight model. Number 1, the physics are Newtonian in nature. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted on by an outside force. Momentum will carry you and your ship until thrust is applied or a much larger object interrupts your flight path. 2, using your main engine to speed up or slow down takes the same amount of time. You control every move with your engines, so planning burns carefully is key. Decelerating using your RCS thrusters will always be slower. 3. RCS thrusters allow you to move in any direction, regardless of motion. Strafe, rise, dive, or rotate. Every movement is under your control. That being said, 4. Changing course isn't instant. You either stop and start in a new direction, or use a combination of your RCS thrusters and main engine to change course over time in an arc towards your target. That's it. 4 features that make In the Black's flight model unlike anything else.
Definitely recommend that people. Where's the best place to catch those videos right now, since they're not in game yet?
You can definitely catch those on our YouTube channel under our shorts. We have a whole folder just dedicated to tutorials, so go check them out there.
Awesome. If you want to shoot that link to me, I'll put that in the chat also, so that people can find them easily. And while we're doing that, there's one more video. I think the latest one that was produced is also going to be super helpful, and we touched on it on this live stream. Let's play this clip.
Here are 4 unique features of our hardcore space.
Whoa, hold on. That's the same one, isn't it? I thought there was another one on. Did you guys do a video this week, didn't you?
We did indeed.
That's a demo patch one. Okay, I played that earlier. Okay, I think that's it. All right, so Al, you've got some interesting things you want to go over. A community challenge. What is that all about?
Yes. So, for those that were with us during our Kickstarter days, there was an event that went on known as Ass Kicker of the Week. We essentially took the most badass things that you guys could come up with destroying your enemy, flight tactics, a really awesome, like, quadruple kills, something. Anything that shows you that you are the best of the best, we took and we posted it live. Got you every bit of allocate that you deserve. So we're bringing that back. With our Discord, with our Steam, anywhere that you're playing In the Black and can post about it, we're going to find it and we're going to post it right here on a stream, probably. So we're bringing that back. There are going to be rewards, obviously. we're still figuring out what those will be, but trust me, it'll be lucrative for you guys. So we're bringing that back. Also, we have been noticing that you guys have been playing around with ship customization, which I got to say, the developers love it. You know, the art guys, they love that type of stuff. And just notably, I went across the Discord today, and I found a few that I thought were pretty cool. Let me see if I can pull that up real fast.
Awesome. Very cool. I just put the link to our YouTube channel, so you can check out the shorts there if you like. Let me see. And then, okay, I think I see your screen now. Edit here.
Yep, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so this one, I believe, is from Commander Smartass. He wanted to go for a more like smart, stylized looking Shrike. I thought that was really cool. I also love the hex pattern on it. Really love this one. We also had this reptilian one. This one was from Dr. Hyde. He essentially took the scales of a snake and decided to throw that up on the Shrike, and I was blown away by it.
That's
from a
awesome.
distance. That would freak me out. Also, we got Golden Boy here. This one, which one was this from?
It looks very cool.
Yeah, and then we also have from Johnny Bones this one as well, which a lot of people in the community were trying to figure out how to replicate this one, so I felt it was necessary to throw it up there. But you know, let us know. Like on a reuse in early access, we're gonna have more ships for you guys to customize to play with. So we're standing by. And if you see something out there in the stars, you know, while you're playing or fighting, just want to capture that, be like a war journalist or something like that, we'll also post that as well. We love to see it.
Awesome. Very cool. Thanks for highlighting these great customizations. And that's one of the really cool things about In the Black, that you can customize. In the future, there will be customization options that don't affect gameplay that you can add to your cockpit for probably some kind of purchase price, so that you can make the ship feel more and more of your own. Very cool. Well, okay, I'm going to put the link to our Discord in the banner at the bottom. That's it. You just go to discord.com/invite/intheblack. That's how you get in the Discord. And then once you're in the Discord, you'll see a bunch of channels. The biggest one is probably game discussion. But then there's another one called coverage, where you can check out articles and live streams from other people. And then we also, here's a nice quote. Here's a nice comment from Mark Zero. Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate your support. Let us know how you like the demo. Give us that feedback in game anytime by pressing F8. That is just super helpful for us. We get to hear right from the player as you're in the demo what you like or don't like, and we can prioritize it. All right, Al, is there anything else you want to cover today?
I think that's about it on my end.
It feels like we went through a lot of ground today. All right, maybe we'll close out with, let me see, I have this release trailer for 90 seconds. Maybe we'll watch this really quick and then we'll close out and say goodbye.
Sounds good.
All hands, Zenith approaching for launch. Open the main hangar door. All personnel return to hard G stations and prepare for combat lockdown.
Rookie, you've got multiple bandits approaching your position.
I'm under attack! We're about to get into a furball, people. Heads up. I'm hit!
We're counting on you to clear a path for us to safely reach the station.
We scrambled response, but they won't be in effective range for 32 seconds.
All Alpha level personnel report to engineering.
Box 1. All weapons free. On me.
Watch your six!
Okay, obviously we're not available in early access yet, so ignore that last part. But we are coming to early access very soon. Literally, we are weeks away. So your feedback has been helping. Thank you so much for joining us for today's live stream. Al, thank you so much for co-hosting.
Thank you, Edmond.
Amazing job. We hope to see you on our Discord server and in the game. Again, don't forget to press that F8 button for feedback. Until next time, like we might do this again next weekend. We'll keep an eye on the calendar we posted earlier for the latest. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend.